The supposed rise and fall of AEW has been well documented by the entire wrestling space over the last couple of years. We've done a lot of videos on it ourselves, which you can check out after you're done watching this one. Trust me, they're great videos, you won't be disappointed. But for all the smack people talk online about AEW and the way it's run, it does need to exist in some capacity. With TNA now working with WWE as an almost feeder system and the next biggest company operating out of Japan, wrestlers do benefit from AEW as another high-profile, high-paying place to ply their craft. It's just a shame that the public opinion on the company has taken such a dive. If only there was a way to turn things around. But what if we told you there is a way to turn things around, and that the best way to save All Elite Wrestling may actually be to kill it? Might sound crazy, but allow us to make our case. You're watching Sportskeeda Wrestling, and today we're going to tell you about the major change that could save Tony Khan and AEW. But before we do, why not hit subscribe and enable those notifications while you're at it? We're almost at 200,000 subscribers here at Sportskeeda Wrestling, you know? You can help us achieve that goal. Thank you in advance. Okay, so All Elite Wrestling had a decent run, but with all the bad press with regards to their booking, talent, video game endeavors, and backstage controversies, there's something of a negative aura around them. Something that Jim Cornette might call the stench of grisly death. Although it's unlikely that AEW will go out of business in the grand scheme of things, so that might be a little bit dramatic. Nevertheless, the negative aura exists and it's becoming increasingly difficult for AEW to shake it off. Even beloved and established stars like Adam Copeland are starting to face criticism regarding both their performances and their booking. It seems to be that whatever All Elite Wrestling tries, things just keep getting worse, even if they've made some good signings recently. MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin being prime examples of just that. They even signed a multi-year TV deal extension with Warner Brothers Discovery in 2024, supposedly worth in the ballpark around $170 million, meaning that their content continues to air on the TBS and TNT networks and stream on Max for the foreseeable future, supposedly for the next 4 years. Though they're struggling to fill the large buildings and not shifting tickets in the way that they used to, this is well-known information, and despite some of the company's efforts to pretend otherwise, everything is certainly not great for the Pepsi of pro wrestling. So what's our big solution? Well, it's simple. As we said in the beginning of the video, kill it. Yes, that's right. We're suggesting that at the end of the current TV deal with Warner Brothers Discovery, Tony Khan should shut the AEW doors for good. But wait, before you turn the video off in a rage, hear us out. We're not saying that Tony Khan should abandon the wrestling business or even the televised wrestling business. We're simply suggesting that he close down AEW. We didn't say anything about Ring of Honor. Yes, Ring of Honor, the king of the indie promotions, who gave the wrestling world the likes of Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, and the Young Bucks, to name a few. Tony Khan purchased the Cult promotion in March 2022 after financial hardship and roster thinning caused them to close up shop. They also felt the effects of not being able to run shows during COVID-19 lockdowns, unable to sustain themselves with empty arenas and financial reserves as other companies did. Khan bought the promotion from the Sinclair Broadcasting Group and gave it a little bit of a revamp with an online show and some pay-per-views, as well as featuring the Ring of Honor titles on AEW TV. But he hasn't done much with the property, all things considered. What we're suggesting is, should Khan fold AEW at the end of the current TV deal, he should replace it with a bigger, badder version of Ring of Honor. This means a lot of roster members could keep their jobs and wrestlers would get a chance to compete in a promotion with a good reputation, as opposed to the chaotic reputation of their current company. It might also be a good idea to hire someone with real industry experience to run the company, like a head coach. Tony Khan wouldn't coach the Jacksonville Jaguars, would he? He wouldn't manage Fulham Football Club. He hires managers and coaches to do that, so why would he book his wrestling promotion? He could simply hire someone else to do it and just put his own input and final say on things when it comes to the finances, like the chairman of a sports franchise should. Not every owner has to take full grip of the reins like Vince McMahon did. TKO's board certainly doesn't book WWE matches or UFC cards. They have Triple H and Dana White do that for them. Tony Khan should consider following suit and hire someone who's proven they can do it. Our pick would be someone like Scott D'Amore, who had a big hand in the turnaround of TNA/Impact Wrestling. He was apparently quite well liked by the talent backstage and did a great job of steadying the TNA ship in some very rocky waters. He was appointed to the company in 2017 and departed in 2024. Of course, Tamura is just one of many options. There are quite a few names in the industry that could take the role. I'm sure you can think of a few right now. But it wouldn't hurt to have someone who's proven they can provide leadership, especially during the turnaround of a company. Think of it like a Premier League football team who used to be great but have fallen on hard times. They desperately need a rebuild. The first thing most of the boards of directors would do in such dire straits is fire the manager. But if Tony Khan is the manager of the wrestling promotion and also the owner, he can't really fire himself. But he can cut back his duties a bit, especially in the case of a full company rebrand. What better time? In the case of a rebrand, the company should take a more unique approach to their programming, offer a genuine alternative and not just the same thing but worse on the other channel. Give wrestling fans something they're not getting on WWE TV. For example, WWE runs long, bloated 3-hour weekly shows with a lot of talking and backstage segments. That can be genuinely tiring sometimes. Even NXT is 2 hours every week, a far cry from its heyday in the mid-2010s when the developmental show was a 1-hour network exclusive program. Perhaps a revamped Ring of Honor could follow that format. An hour every week, maybe 2 if you want to add a second 1-hour show on a different day, of just intense, hard-hitting, pure wrestling, with effective backstage and promo segments that advance angles and establish character in short spaces of time, like old school Ring of Honor or Lucha Underground, programs that had short run times but made the most of what they had. Some of the best wrestling shows of the last 20 years have been 1 hour long. Bust out the leg slaps, boys. We want to feel it through the TV. Not only that, but NXT circa 2015, old school Ring of Honor, and Lucha Underground all shot their shows in intimate locations with small crowds of ruckus and passionate fans. This type of reaction can make a small crowd seem much bigger than it actually is and make the product look hotter as a result. It gives the shows an exciting, almost underground Fight Club kind of vibe. Not at all like Raw Underground, which was absolute crap. This new Ring of Honor could tour around reasonably intimate venues or simply shoot out of Daly's Place every week, giving fans that ECW Arena, Full Sail University, Lucha Underground Temple kind of vibe. You could even sell season tickets if you want to take some more inspiration from football and soccer. Only use the bigger venues for pay-per-views, really packing them out when it comes to the longer shows, NXT TakeOver style. With pay-per-views in mind, keep All In and All Out, but mix in some Ring of Honor pay-per-view concepts like Final Battle, Death Before Dishonor, and Supercard of Honor. The first All-In event was built off of Ring of Honor's back after all. This could see that story come full circle and could be the sports-based wrestling that was promised when AEW launched. It would need a bit of a roster reduction, but this would be fat trimming at absolute most. Limiting the runtime to an hour will help to ensure there's only room for quality on the show. A lot of big names in AEW could stick around and fit this format quite well. Whether they're old legends having one last world title reign, Chris Jericho, or a young up-and-comer looking to land some hard hits, someone like Hook for example, or a former Ring of Honor world champion like Dalton Castle or Mark Briscoe. High flyers like Pac would get a good home on the show, and Ring of Honor has even gotten hardcore in the past, so there'd be a spot for Jon Moxley too. Bobby Lashley would make an excellent dominant world champion if he's still active at the time, and even the Young Bucks could relive their glory days as Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, as long as the talents are credible in some way. Not everything from AEW would have to go, just some of the poorly thought out or unnecessary stuff. They would be reborn under the flag of a brand that people trust. After all, most of the industry's top names got their big break in Ring of Honor. They have a more than decent reputation. In making these changes, Tony Khan could right his wrongs, having worked out all the do's and do-nots of running a wrestling company with AEW. This could be his chance to make things right and be the good guy promoter of pro wrestling once again, at least in the eyes of the hardcore fans, by actually offering them an alternative to the mainstream with a high budget. Again, it might not be as flashy as a twice weekly show in a half-full 10,000 seat arena, but not all wrestling shows have to be. Why not offer fans something else? One good, compelling hour of television. They could even take the tried and tested approach of, this is for the real wrestling fans, not fans of sports entertainment, entertainment, and it would actually be believable again. Fresh, fast-paced, and something that hasn't been done with such a substantial budget. Admittedly, we're not television or business experts, we're just wrestling fans with opinions, and that's all this is, an opinion. We're not saying this is definitely going to happen or even something that would be seriously considered, but it's always nice to share an idea that could lead to the betterment of the industry we love. Tony Khan has the money to run a wrestling promotion for the rest of his life if he wants to. It just depends on what kind of company he wants to run. A half-hearted WWE knockoff with too many long matches, a dwindling audience, and a reputation for real-life backstage brawls, or a fast-paced, modern-day revamp of a beloved and well-respected brand, finally getting its shot at the big time with a big budget and the TV deal to back it up, surrounded with intrigue and hype, not to mention a world-class tape library, though it might be a bit low budget at times. Remember, it doesn't always have to be the biggest show to be the best show, and it's never too late to turn things around if your intentions are right. If you want to be an alternative to the mainstream, then you have to be an alternative to the mainstream. Find a gap in the market and seize it. Just something to think about. That about wraps things up for this one. What did you think? Would you like to see AEW and Ring of Honor merge? Let us know down in the comments section, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Sportskeeda Wrestling for more content just like this. And while you're at it, why not click the little bell icon? It helps us out a lot, and we greatly appreciate it. We're almost at 200K! As always, thank you for watching, and bye for now.